Feel free to check out my TeePublic after the video. What hasn't been said about the original Godzilla? It's highly acclaimed as one of the most influential pieces of Japanese media with its message of the horrors of the advancements of military science and technology, coming from a nation that had 2 cities decimated by nuclear bombs 9 years prior. Not only that, but director Ishiro Honda was involved in the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II, and while flying over Bikini Atoll, producer Tomoyuki Tanaka saw the aftermath of Operation Castle Bravo in 1954. In the original Godzilla, there has been a couple of incidents where boats at sea would get destroyed due to a radioactive flash of light. An investigation is held at a nearby island by the name of Odo Island, in which the natives say it is the work of a monster named Godzilla. Godzilla is then found on the island, and Japan's worst fear comes to life as the beast begins terrorizing Tokyo. The original Godzilla does a great job putting you in the perspective of an ordinary citizen who is aware of the horrors of unchecked nuclear devastation 9 years prior, or maybe already experienced it. The tone of this film is the darkest of the franchise, and has not been matched ever since. As for the characters, we view them as ordinary people who aren't prepared for what is to come. You have Hideo Ogata, a sailor for the Japanese Coast Guard, played by Akira Takarada, Emiko Yamane, a childhood friend of Dr. Daisuke Serizawa, and Ogata's love interest, played by Momoko Kochi. Dr. Daisuke Serizawa, creator of the Oxygen Destroyer, played by Akihiko Hirata, and Kyohei Yamane, Emiko's father and a paleontologist who once Godzilla studied, played by Takashi Shimura. The character depth is perfect for this kind of film, though the love triangle among Ogata, Emiko, and Serizawa may not be interesting to some. As for Godzilla, he is without a doubt downright terrifying, despite looking a little weird in some shots. And it's not just the monster himself. The cinematography, the miniatures, and the frame rate manipulation are handled very well. They play key parts in this movie to give the illusion that Godzilla is real. It even scared the people who were watching it in Toho Theater. And the score from Akira Fukubi is phenomenal, and really creates a very grim tone for this film. This was during a time where monster movies like Dracula and Frankenstein weren't all that scary anymore, because something scarier happened in the real world, and we needed a monster that embodied such a horror. I really hate to sound like a broken record, but the original Godzilla is a masterpiece. Yeah, it does have some pacing issues, but it was very ambitious for the time. The Japanese film industry did have a lot of resources to utilize, so new techniques needed to be invented through primitive means. It is also worth noting that Godzilla was the most expensive Japanese production at the time, and it was only beaten by Toho's Seven Samurai for Best Picture of that year. However, instead of focusing primarily on the original Godzilla, I would like to point to other versions of this film. In 1956, there was Godzilla King of the Monsters, an Americanized re-edit of Godzilla starring Perry Mason's Raymond Burr, who plays United World News reporter Steve Martin. For a re-edit made for an audience in another country, there aren't too many differences, but considering that America was at war with Japan and nuked Hiroshima and Nagasaki, some of the moments that reflected the original Godzilla's anti-nuclear themes were either removed or weren't dubbed over in English. Yet at the same time, the film does manage to retain its themes, as there was an arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union at the time. Does Godzilla King of the Monsters ruin the essence of the original? Not really. Again, if you break it all down, there aren't many things that are different. And you can honestly just think of it as the same film, but in the point of view of another character, and how he's affected by the events. This version of Godzilla even got a Japanese release under the name Monster King Godzilla in 1957. Then in 1977, Italian film director Luigi Cozzi released a colorized version of Godzilla King of the Monsters with new footage and an Italian dub. And it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Just watch my review for more. Inspired by King Kong and the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, we have the original Godzilla to thank for the longest running film franchise of all time, containing the most number of films in any franchise ever, and not only that, but also the giant monster boom later in the 60s. And considering how many times it's been parodied, spoofed, remade, and rebooted, currently sitting at 34 films up to this point, Godzilla will forever be a pop culture icon. That's all I have for today's History of Godzilla. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys later.